Hey guys, happy Friday. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great week and hope you've got a great relaxing weekend ahead. Beth, I don't know if you're working or relaxing this weekend. I know we're heading to the lake, so excited for that. What do you got going this weekend?
Same as you. A little bit of work on Saturday morning and then headed to the lake as well.
Nice. So this week we're going to talk, guys, about four things you can do now to prepare for an awesome 2024. And we'll get into why we think 24 might be a good market again here in a bit. But in the meantime, if you've not yet invited anyone else to the group, we would love to keep growing the audience. So if you've got any introverted friends that are in real estate, in mortgage, and you think they would fit well with our group, we'd love to have that. And then we'd love to have you also share any wins, questions, comments, anything like that with the video here. Just go ahead and share. I know a few of you have been doing that. It's been really helpful for Beth and I to know what to talk about and to hopefully add some more value to our introverted network here that we've got growing. So we'll jump right into it, Beth. Four things that we can do as real estate agents and loan officers in the real estate market here to set up for a good, solid 2024. And the thought being the market as a whole, as inflation comes down and gets in check, which it is somewhat doing right now and globally, typically what leads to high interest rates is inflation, which leads to low interest rates is low inflation and potentially even a recession of some sort. But that would lead to lower interest rates, which, as a real estate agent, Beth, you've got a lot of buyers that are kind of stuck in their current home because they don't want to go from a 3% rate on their mortgage to a 6 or 7% rate and see that payment skyrocket. So the thought or the theory is if rates come down a little bit, you're going to have a lot of buyers that maybe would have moved over the last couple of years, pull the plug on starting to look to move. That'll open up properties for first-time home buyers, and we could see a lot more activity, which is exciting for us in both of our positions here. So with that, the four things that you're going to want to focus on is number one, knowing the market. And just that simple concept of if rates come down, there'll probably be more buyers out there is probably something to keep an eye on. But you want to know your market locally as well. And I know in our market, Beth, our real estate association sends out statistics. You can see how long properties have been on the market. You can see what they're selling for, the median price, the average price, all of that data. I think it's good to know because you want to be educated when a client that you bump into or a family member asks you what's going on at the market. You want to know what's going on. So I don't know if there's a whole lot to speak to on that, but Beth, any thoughts on that as a whole?
Well, I just think clients are always asking us, like, oh, how's the market and how are things? And again, we have to remember that this is very like micro niche to our specific Sioux Empire area. And all of you watching are going to have different responses. You have to know what the response is for your market. And if you're not doing a lot of deals, then you have to look for those market stats. If you're doing a lot of deals, then you have a lot of firsthand experience. Like, hey, my 250 and under are really struggling. I'm writing a lot of offers and not winning, but my $400,000 plus listings are tending to sit a little bit longer. So it's really knowing, and if you don't know, finding the people that do. So I get comments or questions every day. Hey, what are rates today? And I'm like, well, my lane is this. I know rates, but they do vary. But like, that's where it's like getting in touch with a mortgage lender to kind of see, like, did you guys have a rate hike over the weekend? Did it cool down? What should I expect? So if I'm not informed, I need to find the professionals like you in the mortgage industry that are, so I can learn from them.
Definitely. And I think it's even good to polish that response a little bit, even with friends and family, because if the response is, well, things are really slow and, there's not a lot of inventory, are they going to be real excited about doing anything personally? Maybe they ask that because they're considering it. And then B, are they going to want to work with Beth or Brent because they seem like they're pretty down. They don't have a lot going on and they might go somewhere else. So I think just knowing the market, knowing what's actually happening and not having a real generic response to that question can actually lead to opportunities down the road with that network that we talked to. So staying informed on the market, I think, is number one. Number two was building your network and strengthening those relationships within your network. So Beth, the obvious one is if you're a lender, make sure you've got a lot of real estate agents that you're talking to. If you're a real estate agent, it's maybe a lender, it's maybe other professionals as well. Beth, what are some areas there as a real estate agent that you would focus on to build that network?
Sure. Well, personally, one thing I've been thinking of lately is like I'm not part of a BNI group. And partially it's because there's a lot of agents in our industry locally. And so those realtor spots get filled very, very quickly. But maybe I need to get creative on how I start that personally myself or what feels good for me. Because that'd be an extra way to extend my networking capabilities. And then for me, it's really like loving on my past and potential clients because they are a huge lead source for me. And while I'm slower, it's the perfect time to get in contact with them, love on them more, let them know about kind of what's going on.
I always think of when you think of your best referral source professionally, whether it's lender to realtor or realtor to lender, you've more than likely, if you're in the group and you're dedicating some time to self-improvement, you've probably got a couple of connections there at minimum that are really solid referral sources that you know well, that give you business, that help help you be successful, that type of thing. And I always think about if there was, instead of one Beth that referred business, if there was five Beths in that same level of partnership. And a lot of times it's easy to just kind of accept the ones that are there and think, well, I can't really grow that network. But I think just being out there, and as introverts, this is the tough part, is putting yourself out there and having these connections. But maybe looking at going through your transactions over the last year and just looking at the agents that you've worked with. If you're a loan officer, if you're an agent, I don't know necessarily what you would target other than the loan officer, but maybe the insurance agents, the title companies, just any contacts that are there. Starting there because you've already got that connection, so you don't have that awkward, maybe overthinking it where, oh, I can't talk to them, they're already working with so and so. You've kind of already got your foot in the door a little bit. So just replicating that number of really good partners can really, really help your business down the road. So third one, Beth, we wanted to talk about was marketing strategy, and that would encompass a couple of different things. That would be looking at what you've got online. So your Google My Business, do you have a listing there? Do you have a Facebook page? Have you posted in the last few months? Do you have a LinkedIn profile? Do they match? Do you have one headshot here, another one there, different titles, different, kind of a brand, so to speak? That should all be very uniform. And ideally, you're on multiple platforms and you're able to have a strategy where you can consistently post content. So I think the online piece is huge. And then the database, if you don't have a database, investing in a CRM, if you don't have one that your company provides, you can get one very inexpensive. But you want to be ready to go when the market shifts, because if you have to start cleaning up your database at that point or cleaning up your social media profile, then you're wasting time when the market's phenomenal and you could already have this stuff rolling. So Beth, from a real estate side, database, typically company provided? Is it something you do on your own? What do you recommend there? Where do you start?
Yeah, for me, it is something that I do on my own. And for the first 5 years in my business, I just used an Excel spreadsheet until I grew and grew and grew. And the really important thing to me was use what you will use. So if you're going to buy a CRM, but not take the time to input it and input the birthdays and the addresses and the phone numbers and the house anniversaries, if you're not going to use it, then it's pointless. But if you know you'll use an Excel spreadsheet, that's just fine. There doesn't have to be this magic thing that you use. You just have to use it. So for me, it is a CRM, but for other people, it could be something different. And then I think you're right that now's the time to focus on it and get it dialed in, because when I am busy, then all those things just are reminding me, hey, it's so-and-so's birthday. Hey, it's so-and-so's 2 weeks from the day they moved in. And the reminders are really easy. But if I don't have those things set up in my systems and processes, you'll forget about it when the time comes and you're too busy.
100%. I think the thing that I've always heard too, the best CRM, because everybody wants the latest, bells and whistles and that type of thing. The best CRM is like you said, just the one that you use. So that could be anything. So plugging that in, I think is huge. And just doing that now. And as introverts, that's kind of stuff that actually comes pretty naturally to us, because it feels like it's a little bit more sitting behind the computer and dialing that in. But that can make a huge difference. And that actually segues into the fourth thing, and that is improving the wow. And we talk about this within our organization a lot, and that is a couple of things. One, your process can actually be a good source of marketing, because if you completely wow someone, they're way more likely to refer their friends and family than if it is use the experience of like calling a huge organization, like you got to call Verizon or DirecTV or something like that. You almost expect that it's just going to be vanilla at best, and hopefully it doesn't take forever. The exact opposite is really what we're going for, and that's a complete wow. It's that white glove service. It's thinking of the little things that maybe the competition overlooks. And Beth, I'll give you a compliment on this, because I think Beth does an amazing job at the little things that her clients are not expecting. She's probably got it all built into a strategy, and it might just seem like random, but I know you built that in, those little touch points on the wow. So the wow is a big part. Beth, what do you got on that?
Yeah, for me, it goes back to like a system and a process of actually creating that on paper. And because I'm a rule follower, it's like if I have a checklist, it's like I have to follow the checklist. And so my touch points, my gifting experiences, my service after the sale are all parts of this checklist that I just know I will follow. And then what's great about it is then when I hire an admin or I have a new teammate that joins my team, I can just share this checklist with them. And all of a sudden they're coming in as a brand new agent and they have an entire system laid out for them. Or my admin knows, oh, this is the process that Beth follows. So if this is checked, I know the next box is the next step. That makes training and growth easier when you've established this. And then I have to always remember that this wow has to be ever changing. That when I find out that if I have something on my checklist that I'm not doing, well, why is that? And maybe I do cut it out, but is there something else that I can add in instead? And then for me, then that's easy because I just know the steps of my process. And so I just grab them and go and know when to send what. But it's taking the time to create something and then actually following it.
I think just plugging that into your database can be helpful if you're a lender as well, your CRM. The one thing or a couple things, I guess, that I think of with the wow, and those are the little things that are maybe not even expected, but if you do them, it sets you apart. So I know on a previous call here, Beth, we talked about if you're a lender, reaching out to the real estate agent as soon as you find out who the borrower is working with, and just talk to them proactively. When you get a contract, reaching out to the listing agent and introducing yourself and talking about how you're excited to work with them. Talking to your borrower about what to expect to get their insurance in place ahead of time. All the little things that maybe have come up last minute. How do you be more proactive on those as a lender and try to avoid those rather than just dealing with them as they come up? Even things like the title company, the closing day, what to expect. You just tell them where to show up to, or do you tell them, here's who's likely going to be there. Here's how long it should take. Here's where the title company is located. It's on the second floor. Make sure you have your IDs with you. All the little things that maybe have come up. They're not a huge deal killer, so to speak, but they're just the little things that if you've thought of them, it just can set you so much apart from the competition. And I think there's probably things on the real estate side, Beth, as well, that you may do for your clients, but from the lending side, I guess that's what I think of. So.
No, and I love that because I have to assume I do all of those things, but you as a lender have to assume that that realtor isn't. So if that realtor is not telling their client what time to show up and where to show up and to bring their driver's license and a cashier's check or wired funds, you have to do that. And then it's just an added bonus if you're telling them that and I'm telling them that and they're getting it double time. And then for you guys, it's so much happens once the contract gets in place. And then it's we throw the contract at you. And then you're like, okay, I need this and this and this. And we're going to do this and this and this. And like you said, there's so many things you could do beforehand while they're in the search, because then maybe it won't be so overwhelming. They're just taking these little bits of knowledge. Hey, I know you haven't found an offer yet, but when you do, this is the next step that will happen on my end. And then it doesn't feel so what the heck is going on? So, and it's a way for you to stay in contact with them because you're providing them nuggets of info throughout the way as they're searching.
I think it's so easy when we're in the business. We deal with these transactions daily, weekly, do hundreds of them over the course of our careers, and we forget about the little details. So just keeping in mind that first-time home buyer has never done this before, guys. They don't know what to expect. They're scared. They're worried they're going to be told at the last minute they can't get the house. All those things that are going through their head, just those little details. Like to use the phrase a lot, it's impossible to over communicate in this business. So if you just keep that in mind, like, I don't think I've ever had anyone say, you guys are reaching out too much, you're communicating too much, leave us alone. Like, that just does not happen, because there's a lot of emotions and stress and tension tied up in a transaction. And the more we can communicate, the more we can improve that wow experience. So
Yeah.
Anything else, Beth, on that?
No, I had a client that just closed last week that it was her 23rd home purchased.
Wow.
So, and she's my age, so she's in her 40s. And so part of me could have been like, oh, well, I don't need to explain anything. And it was like, no, my job, because she maybe never got a good experience in the other 23 homes. So I'm going to be detailed. I'm going to give her the same experience as the person who's bought their very first home, and take care of them like that. Now, sometimes they might have stopped me and said, you don't need to explain that. I know all about it. But at least they knew I was giving them like the full service.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So there we have it. We have the 4 things. You want to stay informed on the market. You want to build your network. You want to look at your marketing, both online and your database and CRM, and then really dial in on that wow, because that can actually help sell you and market you in ways that you don't even realize. So I do believe, Beth, we're in for a good 2024. I think interest rates are going to come down. They've started to again in the last couple of weeks, but it could be a little bit of a rocky road. But when that does happen, I think we're going to see a lot of buyers that have been in their properties for a while that may have already moved in a normal market. Then you've got a whole nother pool of people that'll actually pull the trigger when rates come down a little bit. So excited about that locally. I know our market's strong as is, but just more opportunity. And for lenders, there could be opportunities to refinance those that you've helped in the last couple of years as well. So I know that doesn't help you at all, Beth, but something for loan officers to just kind of have in the back of their head and on the horizon. So thanks everybody for listening. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back again soon. Thanks, guys.